Are you?
Lydia Plyman.
I'm Pat Langley from the Tipp Gazette.
Hi, you can introduce yourself. Everybody, be great.
Hi, my name's Kelly Downing. I have 3 kiddos here, middle schooler and 2 at IT.
So hopefully, everybody's able. We've had since the board meeting in March, we've had those updated drawings and some renderings put on the board. I'm just trying to go through all that today, and then answer any questions. So again, the first part of this is the conceptual or the schematic design drawing for the new PK8 building on the front. Again, the front part is this. That would be facing Hyatt Street. You can see where some of the landmarks are with the tennis courts and the baseball diamond and such on the north end, and on the south end the tennis courts. The next kind of just goes over a little bit of the history of the building project. It's been for 15 years. There's been talk about doing something with our buildings, and there's been a couple of failed attempts. There's some things that were put on, pulled off, and in the last 12 months, we moved to passing a bond levy. We financially right-sized the district, and we're on the precipice of keep creating a student-centered 21st century educational facility for our kids, which is sorely needed. On the building design focus, the next page, we're really talking about safety, collaboration, and flexibility, kind of the cornerstone of what our purpose is for education. We need to be safe. We need to have kids collaborating and engaged in the process, and then the flexibility to make changes as things develop in our area and student needs, and in maybe what the needs of the future are going to be. Obviously, there's some pretty impressive things coming up with artificial intelligence and things like that. That who knows what may actually develop in the future, which may not be that far from now. When you look at the design, again, there's a couple pictures of the outdoor space that will be outside the pods where the classrooms are, and this is the extended learning area, an example where the classrooms are around an extended learning area where kids, classrooms can come together to do work. There's a little too much clutter in that area to me right now, but those are all mobile carts and things that are movable that are just, again, examples of what could be in that schematic design. But again, this isn't about the square footage. This is about being intentional about the learning environment for our kids and producing a 21st century learning process, a learning environment for them, where teaching and learning can evolve, and in order to evolve, we have to have flexible space to make that happen. You have designed, again, with every student, PK8, we've integrated special ed supports, sensory rooms, flexible group zones in all these areas that, again, allow the needs of the students to be put forward. We're trying to, again, make this a building that's going to last for 50 years and not just serve a short period of time. We're trying to be long-term thinking on this. The playground areas are, again, examples of where those would go most likely. What would go in there is still not finalized. Those are just things put in there. I think we definitely would look at make sure they're accessible for all students, but probably obviously split up. The kids of the middle school age aren't out at recess as much as the younger kids, so making sure there's plenty of space and things for both age groups to utilize and have fun and burn some energy off when the sun's shining in decent weather. The next page, you talk about our flexible spaces. Again, music and art are in each of those pods. Every pod has a music and art room. The kids aren't going up and down stairs for those things. They're in those pods. So it's not just, well, where can we throw them at? It's, okay, let's be intentional about that. You're looking at the gym and the dining areas, not just for those purposes, but also for additional things. What could that you know, the stage area that is on there. It could be a community focus for our first grade plays that happen, or musical concerts. They can double up. It can't be just, it should be just a dining room. What else can it be? What other flexibility and multiple purposes can be held there? And that's a big piece, again, of this. And then obviously our community uses the facilities quite a bit, especially the gymnasiums. But there's other places that we want to get open up and be inviting to everyone there. So being a focus of the community, again, flexible space is a big piece of it. Safety, when you look at the safety piece on the next design, each academic pod can get locked down. So whether it's kindergarten wing, the first grade, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, all those areas can get locked down. When they get locked down, nobody's coming in. So there has to be fire safety for certain areas, but these pods can actually be locked down where people can't get into the areas. So I think that's again, another intentional piece of that. Again, we're gonna have, the main entrance, again, is separate from that area. Again, people are coming into the building, we want them to be vetted before they get into the building and get into those areas. The safety of having a welcome area that we can see the people coming in versus just a video. They're right there. But also in there, the SRO office is right behind them. So if there is an issue, they can key swipe and go into a locked, secure room, hit the panic button that locks everything down, alerts the SROs, alerts the cavalry's coming when we have the panic buttons, those types of things. That will, again, keep everything safe. We still want it to be welcoming. That's kind of, we have that welcome area, that receptionist area, because we do want it to be, a welcoming area. We're not at a point where, in my opinion, that we need to have metal detectors and things like that, but we do need to keep safety in mind. Right now, you go to the buildings, you walk right in, you could be in anywhere. And that's something that we're gonna have to change, and looking at changing it at the high school level with that. So those are, again, safety concerns. We're trying to limit the number of doors too. I don't think we have as many doors as even the high school might have right now. I think there's a lot more doors out there. One of the things that will have doors, but it's by code, is the kindergarten wing. So the kindergarten wing will have doors to the outside. That's because of the square footage and the code requirements. They had to have, because it's 1,000 or 1,100 square feet, whatever that number is, they have to have 2 points of egress in that room. So they will actually be the only pod that has doors to the outside. They have to have that by safety, by code design. So, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for kids getting out to recess and things like that, to have that, but it is a bit of a concern to make sure those things are locked, that we're gonna have to double check and make sure we have alarms on those things, because we don't want propped open accidentally or things happen, right? So those are the big things. Again, this is about finally making a decision and moving forward. We're planning for the future. It's not just gonna be a building, but a safe and dynamic learning environment. And that's our goal. We are here to serve kids. And we wanna make sure we have everything where the kids are at, where the staff is at, to make this a great learning environment for them. And build community too. It's hard on the kids to keep traveling as they had with 4 buildings. They just get comfortable. Now they have an area that they can be their own and stay with it for 9 years, hopefully. So we're excited about those possibilities. And again, these are pictures that were on the website and on the pictures on the website, the videos on the website. We have more pictures, and the schematic drawings are on there as well. So that's the update we have from there. What questions might people have for me?
When is the design have to be confirmed? Like if you're changing walls or?
So schematic design will be done, it's gonna get on the board agenda for April. The design development, DD, will probably be like in May, and construction documents will be, end of May, June will be the DD. Construction docs,
DD.
yeah, development design, so it's just
Okay.
another phase of the process.
You're,
Yeah,
you're talking.
there's three different phases. Schematic design is just a basic piece. And then we have to go through a budget process and make sure that we're on budget. So that's part one. Then that doesn't have all the detail. The design development, DD, is another step in the process. So now it's gonna be even more designed, more
Fleshed out.
clear, fleshed out with items. That has to be then budgeted and out and make sure that we're on budget. If not, we say we gotta move things or go change things up. And then there's construction documents, and that's when it's gonna be, blueprints for, that will go out for bid. Those blueprints will go out to bid probably in, I think it's late October is the plan, or somewhere around there right now. And that means that's when bids will start coming in. So then we'll have actual numbers that have to be then adjusted for the budget to make sure that we're on there as well when the bids come in. So all throughout this process, I think little changes can be made depending on with the flexibility of this building, because it will be a lot of steel structure on the inside, not the CMU block, walls could be moved easily. You could say, well, I want a bigger classroom here because we need our band program, we got more kids in the band program we want. Well, maybe we have to open up 2 classrooms and we take out a wall so they could have more space for they can do that. But the steel structures can't change, but that's usually in the middle of the area. The walls between classes are gonna be more, not the block, it'll be more structural framed to deal with that. Yeah.
I assume the architect, he knows the budget, so this
Yeah.
is not pie in the sky. This is within the realm of the dollars that we know today. Now, knowing that
Yeah.
with steel prices going up,
Yeah.
what's the levers do we have? Is it, price of steel goes up, does the building have to compress? Or is there, you now switch it and say, maybe it's not gonna be a steel, it's gonna be a cement structure? I mean, are those has that been discussed at all?
They could, right now, who knows?
Yeah.
Right, so we had to go through the design, so actually, the architect has a third party that does it, but then, so does Shook Construction. Shook Construction does an estimate too.
Okay.
So they're basing it, a lot of their estimates are, okay, how much are they currently getting on their projects for electrical, HVAC, all, it's just kind of I shouldn't say ballpark, but this is what it
It's
costs.
within the range, this
Yes.
isn't like all of a sudden the price is up and it's $90 million, and you
Yes.
say, oh crap, we gotta go
Yeah.
up the wing, or something like that. Yeah.
Correct, so that's why they
Okay.
budget it at SD and they budget it again at DD,
Good.
because more things are known. Right now, some of it's, okay, we're expecting $55 per square foot for electrical. That's what they're expecting, so to say, but maybe it comes in at 47.
Yeah.
Maybe it comes in at 55.
Yeah.
And then when those things happen at each parts of the design, we then have to make sure it matches our budget. So maybe it goes up in one area, but it goes down in
Sure.
another area. But that's why we did it. They're finalized the SD budget with Shook and another company is Blundell, is the one who Garmin Miller used to, they work together to, okay, what's it gonna cost right now as is?
Good.
And then DD the same thing. So that's why OFCC wants to make sure that everything's on budget for this project. And it takes more time because you get these plans and it takes them a few weeks to get estimates and figure it out and then come back.
Much
and
better
talk
to
about-
catch it along
Yeah.
the way process.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.